Rave.
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy.
Were you on the war? That was a live recording.
That's ringing a serious bell for some reason.
That was like a 26-minute recording that came out. I show that you were part of that, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, because back to my original point, there were a lot of things going on, and you just didn't ask questions. You just did what you were told and didn't ask questions. So, and me being a new guy, because Morris, Mr. Hayes, and Kirk Johnson had been there forever. They knew all the rules, and I used to break a lot of rules because no one would tell you what the rules were until you broke them. So I stopped asking questions, and I just did as I was told. So I would just be there, keep my mouth shut. If he asked me to play on something, I play. The war is ringing a bell for some reason. I don't know if it's ringing a bell because we played it live.
Yeah, it was live. It was live.
Yeah. I can't remember if I was there when they recorded live, but I probably was. Probably there are no credits on that song.
Yeah. Well, I have it listed here under your name. So.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
But who in the band were you kind of closest with? Did you have a rapport with a couple of the people?
Yeah, Kirk Johnson was my guy. Me and Kirk had a few bands in Minneapolis. He had a band with his sisters that I used to play with. His sisters all sang. And then we had a little jazz funk band with a sax player named Walter Chancellor. And then Kirk and I used to play with Wayne McFarland with Ipso Facto. So Kirk and I have been playing together since I moved to Minneapolis in the 90s. How did I run into Kirk? He was the one that called me and said, "You want to come out and jam with Prince this evening?" Kirk was the one that initially called me on that Wednesday that I almost passed it up because I had a $75 gig. So me and Kirk go back. Kirky J, that's my guy. I was at his wedding earlier this year. Him and his wife had a beautiful wedding in Florida. But me and Mr. Hayes are also very close because I'm still with NPG now. I'll do an extended version with Mr. Hayes and Sonny, Big Tony. And Levi's there. If Levi's not there, I'm there. And Sonny T, me and Sonny T are like, that's my dude right there. That's my brother from another mother. Me and Michael Bland are also very close. I guess me and Tommy Barbarella are very close. I guess I could say I have a relationship with me and Rhonda Smith. I worked on a couple of her CDs back in the day. Me and Kat Dyson also still very tight. So everybody in NPG, I'm still very in contact with. Sonny T and I played with an Italian singer named Georgia when Sonny's not out with Corey Wong. So yeah, I'm still in tight with all those guys. But Kirky J, Kirky J is my dude, though.
Were some of those relationships sort of rekindled after Prince's passing? You get reconnected, or did you keep in touch all those years?
Yeah, I kept in touch because even if Prince was playing somewhere when I was with Justin Timberlake, if Prince was in town somewhere, me and John Blackwell would go see him, and I would always ask him if I could come up and play. And sometimes he'd let me come up and play. Sometimes he would, but we always kept a good rapport with us. Even when we were in NPG and when we weren't. So all of the NPG members, we all still really keep in contact. Like NPG still tours right now. They're currently doing we do one-off dates, and Levi is an original NPG member before I came. I came in the next segment. So when Levi is unavailable to do stuff, I'm the next guy in line. So I still play with NPG quite frequently.
What would you say are a couple of distinguishing characteristics of your signature playing style, Mike?
Well, if I had to say that, if I had to answer that question honestly, I guess funk has been my forte, being able to be funky. And beside the blessing that God gave me to do what I do, I got back up again to say my DC influence, along with the Minneapolis influence, along with the training of Prince, allowed me to come up with this really, really funky, funk. Just think about it. Prince plays guitar, as he would tell me all the time. So in order for me to be in the guitar seat behind him, I had to be just as funky as he was, or as close to as funky as he was. So, his guidance and his pushing me to the a higher limit than I realized I was able to do allowed me to be a really funky guitar player. And I'm not sitting and patting myself on the back here. I'm just saying, Prince was instrumental, along with the gifts God had already given me. The mixture of the two gave me a voice. I do have a voice. So, other guitar players will say, "Oh man, I heard I was coming in the place and I heard that funky guitar and I knew it was you," because I do have some sort of a signature funk style.
Is there a way you would say that like the Minneapolis funk guitar rhythm style differs from like a James Brown kind of thing?
Well, Prince was very influenced by the stylings of James Brown in the writing and his guitar. Also, Freddie Stone, who was Sly Stone's brother, who played with Sly and Freddie Stone. Prince was also very influenced by Freddie's guitar playing. These are all funk, like the guitars on James Brown. We used to add a lot of James Brown licks into our guitar playing, Prince and I. So we also did a thing called chicken grease, which he coined, where you're doing this strum that he would, if he said, "Mike Scott, chicken grease," I already knew what to do, this particular thing. And there was always this there's a James Brown that ba da ba ba da ba ba da da ba da 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 da, and it's this particular guitar part. I wish I'd bought a guitar with.
Pass the piece.
Yeah. We would use that a lot, and so since Prince liked that particular part, whenever we would just be riffing or creating on the spot, that was a go-to I knew that would make him happy. He would be if I went to chicken grease or went to the James Brown thing, he would be, you could just see him grinning over there, because that's what he would have done if he was playing. So Yeah, I attribute my if you want to say I have a unique style, which I've been told by a few people, uh, I would attribute it to grace of God and my own ability mixed with the things that Prince taught me.
What do you think? Did you ever wonder, what drove Prince so hard like that, that he was so relentless in what he pursued?
Uh, well, I really couldn't. He was a musician like no other, and sometimes we would go like for instance, if you and I went in the studio with him right now, and we just finished a day of rehearsal, and we just laid a couple of parts. We'd come in the next day, and he'd still be there working on that song, and he had completed the song, added all this other stuff, and we'd be like, "Wow, that's the same song from yesterday. What the hell?" And it'd be a completed track. So I don't know, man. That dude was driven like, I don't know what was driving Prince. Prince had he had an energy level and just, he had a musical sense that was different from any other artist on the planet. And it was just amazing. The things that he would come up with were just amazing. And to be able to, if you came in NPG or Revolution as a great musician, Prince would push you and make you a much greater musician. He would strip you down and rebuild you and make you something that you didn't realize you were capable of being. So I think that's why all of his bands were so good, because they had to come up to the level that he was, or at least as close to it as we could get. So his bands were always amazing. And the musicianship of the musicians that he played with is just uncompromised, level of professionalism that you don't find just anywhere. I think that's why Prince chose the musicians he chose, because he saw more potential in them than they even saw in themselves.
Did you have to deal with much choreography or stage direction?
We did choreography, but it was never nothing crazy complicated. Like with Justin Timberlake, we have choreography for the whole 2 hour show, and it can get a little intricate sometimes as you're trying to play and do these crazy steps with the dancers and the rest of the band. Whereas Prince made sure the stuff that he had us do, or the stuff that Kirk would come up with, or the stuff we would all do as a band, it was something that you could play and do the step. You could step and play without having to think of either too hard. It was always the steps were never complex. I know with him, and we had a pretty intricate choreography in The Greatest Romance when we used to do it live, and me and Larry Graham had to learn a bunch of choreography for that song. But that was about the most. Oh, and then it was Emancipation. If you've seen that Emancipation video of us playing live it was an award show, and we had some pretty intricate choreography on that. So yeah, I guess as I'm thinking back to it, we did have some choreography. Face Down, we did Face Down live on the Chris Rock show. We were doing steps on that, but it was never anything really complicated. It was stuff that you could play and do at the same time.
Yeah, kind of like maybe the time would have done, like the musicians of the time, not the front guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, did you ever get to meet or spend any time with Jesse Johnson, speaking of the time, and guitar players?
You know what? I never met Jesse. I did play with the time on several occasions when Jesse wasn't there and Tori wasn't there either. I was able to play with the time at I think it was Terry Lewis's birthday party once or something in Minneapolis. But yeah, I had some opportunities, and I knew all those guys very well. But I've never met Jesse. Never. We never passed. We never crossed paths in Minneapolis when I was there.
What, Mike?
I wished I had gotten to meet him.
Well, there's still time.
Yeah, the time.
Mike, what can you tell people about Terry and Jimmy? Where they like to work with in the studio?
Man, Terry and Jimmy were freaking amazing. I mean, like I said, I got with the Sounds of Blackness, and they were rehearsing at Paisley. I mean, at Flight Time. And I met Big Jim and Ann Nesby were in Sounds of Blackness during their heyday. And Big Jim was a very busy writer, producer at Flight Time. So he was the first one to invite me in to do some sessions with him on some sessions he was doing for other artists at Flight Time, which led me to meet Jam and Lewis. And then they started calling me to come do everything. I mean, I'd get done gigging at 1 a.m. and I'd get a call from Jimmy, man, he'd come out, lay some tracks on Janet's stuff or something. And then I would leave that session and then go to Studio B, and they'd be working on Lionel Richie or something. And then I'd go out of Studio B and go to Studio C, and they'd be working on something else. So I'd be there until the sun came up, just going from studio to studio, laying tracks, because Jam and Lewis in the 90s, they were producing everybody, New Edition. I can't, it was so many songs would play on the radio during the course of the day, and I'd be playing on like 15 songs that played on the radio because Jam and Lewis was producing everything back then. Karyn White, SOS, all this stuff. Maybe not SOS, but they were doing everything that played on the radio at that time,
Yeah. And were you working also with Monty and some of those other guys too?
No, I did some stuff with Monty and I have recorded with Paul Peterson on this Funk Friday thing he does. I'm sure the Prince fans know about Minneapolis All Stars and Paul Peterson doing Funk Friday. But I did some stuff with Bobby Z. Bobby Z was producing Alexander O'Neal. And I used to go out to Bobby's studio a lot and cut a lot of guitar for him back in the 90s, maybe early 2000s or something. But Monty and I only recently got to work together. We all know each other, but we only recently got to work together on the Minneapolis All Stars, Paul Peterson Funk Friday thing he does. Do you ever check those things out?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good music, man.
Yeah, the little 1 minute clips, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh well, I just wanted to get a sense from you though, with Jimmy and Terry. Would they kind of describe to you what they were looking for in the guitar part, or how would that?
Sometimes they wanted a particular thing, but most of the time, Jimmy would let me just do my thing. He'd say, "Man, we need something on this," and I'd tell him to spin it, and they'd hit record, and I'd just play a bunch of crap. I'd play whatever I felt in my heart, and then Terry would come in. And Terry and Jimmy had two different recording styles. Sometimes Jimmy would just let me play a track and he would just love everything. But Terry would like to come in and bar by bar. He would have me record every bar. Like what I played was cool. He'd just say, do that same lick and do it again. And then we go to the next bar and he'd say, that's cool. And then he'd go to the next bar and he'd say, okay, do that same thing, but play it again. And we would come up with these perfectly beautiful tracks. But I had already laid the guitar, but Terry would come in and make sure all the I's were dotted and all the T's were crossed. And it's a painstaking process, but they always came out with great, great tracks. So The two of them together are a great writing team because they were hit makers, of course, and they gave me the room to do what I wanted to do to add whatever flavor I added to the song. But there were certain things that they wanted, like they would want certain little uh, tricks that I would do. They would say, "Mike, do that thing that you do," and I do that thing all the way through a song. Like on Mary J's, when we did Mary J's album, there was a particular thing they wanted, and I did that throughout the song. And they were they still are. They're great producers, man. I love working with them. But they moved to L.A. and you know, I still talk to them, but I don't work with them as much anymore because there's great guitarists in LA that do what I do even better, you know.
Mm. What about the music scene in Georgia?
Um, I really haven't gotten into the music scene here because for two reasons. As I say, my wife and I are here building a house, and I kind of come. I think of Georgia as my escape from the rest of my life. So I didn't want to really get heavily into the music scene here in Georgia, and I actually got into the gospel music scene here a little bit with that. There was a one congregation of church I was. Justin Timberlake's keyboard player, Justin Gilbert, he invited me out to play with Hillsong Ministries. I started working with them, and we did a few things, and it just, it eventually went to the wayside. But I'm not complaining because my wife and I are building a house. I have my daughter here. We got chickens, we got bees, we got pit bulls, we got rabbits, and 8 acres of beautiful freedom. And I'm just kind of enjoying after doing full 2-year tours with Justin Timberlake, like 366 days a year. Yeah, I said 366. We would tour. Justin would tour quite heavily. So I'm not. You understand what I'm saying, Scott? I'm not in a big rush to go running back to the road.
You got to decompress, yeah.
Yeah. I still work with a band in Hilton Head called Reggie D's and D's Guys. I work with them on weekends, and that's been cool. That's been enough for right now. And I still do stuff with NPG, and I just came from Germany, working with Vince Mendoza. Actually, NPG was just over there. We did. Did you see that thing we did in Germany?
With Liv Warfield and
with Liv and Cassandra O'Neill and Ricky Peterson, Paul Peterson, and Kirk Johnson, Kirky James on drums.
Yeah, it looked like it was received really well. Like it went well.
Yeah. That thing was amazing because we had the big band behind us, and it was very nice. I mean, Prince used last I was with him, he had 11-piece horn section, so we were already familiar with that style, how that was going to sound. But Vince Mendoza is an amazing arranger, so he put a new spin on a lot of Prince songs. So I think that thing's still streaming on Facebook, I believe. If anybody wants to check it out, just look up Vince Mendoza and the WDR Orchestra featuring Prince, the music of Prince. But yeah.
Well, I like to ask people that play funk, what does it mean to you? What does funk do for you spiritually, musically? What is funk to you?
Well, funk to me, it's a syncopation. I always tell guitar players, and I tell drummers sometimes too. I play guitar, and I think the same way a drummer's playing his hi-hat, depending on if he's playing eighth notes or playing 16th notes. And I always tell guitarists, listen for that hole and listen for that space that's not being filled. And if you try to put something funky in that space, something syncopated and funky that will bounce off the rhythm that's already there, then you being funky. So if it ain't got your neck going, it ain't funky, you know. So when I'm playing, I try to find that pocket that's not there. I try whenever I hear stuff, for some reason I hear a funky rhythm that's missing. So when I add what I do, it makes you say, "Oh, damn, that's funky like a mug," because I'm hearing a part that's not there. So I try to add that rhythm, that rhythmic element. And I learned that from Prince because me and him used to play off each other, and we would always play like this. If I was there, he would be here. We would never be playing the same note, the same thing at the same time. It would always be that.
Interlocked.
Yes. So, and it was funky that way. So when I learned from him doing that, like he would just tell me, play your part, stay where you are. And he would play something that bounced off of what I was playing. So we were doing this syncopated, funky thing. So whenever I listen to any music, anything, I'll hear a part that's not there that could have made it just a little bit more funkier. So funk to me is if it ain't got that, you know, if it's right here, I'm gonna come in with something. I'm gonna come in with that, you know, because the whole groove is just this 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna try to come in with something that's gonna make it bounce. You know what I'm saying, Scott?
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what funk is to me. I always try to find that rhythmic element, like a percussionist. Terry Santil plays percussion with Justin Timberlake, and Kirky J was percussion with NPG, and we just had two amazing percussionists in Germany. But I always tell percussion players, I'm playing percussion too, because don't think of guitar as guitar. Think of it as percussion. And Prince, if you listen to Prince's rhythm playing, like on a song like Controversy, he's freaking playing percussion. His guitar is he's playing like a percussion player. And so I think of guitar along funk guitar, I think along those terms. Think of it as a percussive instrument rather than a guitar, if that makes any sense.
It makes so much sense, Mike. And you know, I think for me, a lot of what got lost in a lot of music that still was funky, but not as funky as it could be, because with electronics, a lot of times these creators might create a funky beat, but would not have the rhythm guitar part in there necessarily.
Yeah.
You add that scratchy, you know, rhythm guitar in the right spot, like you're saying, percussive, and it just takes that funk off to another level. And so
it takes it to another level. Takes it to another level. And like I said, thank God and thank Prince, because he taught me. He just taught me to listen and find that space, find that place to put something funky in that's not already there. You know, a funky rhythm, a funky element. You know.
You think there's ever any player that was as equally strong in rhythm and lead as Prince?
No. No, because there was only one Prince, and we can come damn close. There's a lot of good funk guitar players out there. Don't misunderstand me. I just did an interview with Hughes and Kettner Amplifiers, and they called me something. What did they call me? The King of Funk or something? Who? Oh, Godfather of funk. The Godfather of guitar. That's my wife's. The Godfather of funk guitar is what they coined me. And I'm not tooting my own horn in any way, but there are a lot of funky guitar players out there. But Prince had a funk pocket like no one else on this planet. And as far as his lead playing, you saw him do And Steal My Guitar Gently Weeps with some of the greatest guitarists in the world. And their jaws were on the floor. I was at that when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was there, and he was on fire that night. Prince's lead playing and his rhythm playing, I can't compare him to anybody. But like I said, I thank God that I had an opportunity to learn from a great master such as him. And hopefully that's what gives me a little bit of an edge to be coined the Godfather of funk.
What are your
guitar? Godfather of funk guitar, my wife said.
Yeah, because the Godfather of Soul, of course, is James.
Yeah.
Godfather of funk, maybe George Clinton, and your funk guitar.
Yeah, they said Godfather of funk guitar, but I don't know about all of that, Scott. All I know is I can get funky when it need to be stanky. I can get funky like a dead monkey. So I'm not upset about that.
What were two or three?
I ain't ashamed to get funky.
What are two or three of your favorite Prince songs to play?
She's Always in My Hair is one. What's that? Controversy is a fun one to play. I'm thinking about what's that one we used to do live? Everybody get on the phone, come here for no loser, Michael. That DMSR is because this is guitar part that I added on there that Prince loved, and there's a million videos of me and him doing this little dance step on there, but the guitar part was crazy funky on there, and it's consistent through the whole song, and that's the kind of thing I was telling you. That's the kind of thing Prince would give me the room to do that kind of stuff, but I had to do it within the limitations of what he wanted. It just had to be funky. That's all he required, is that it was funky. And I knew when it was funky because he liked it. He'd look at me and smile, or he'd break it down to just the guitar so that everybody could hear the funk that I was bringing. So, yeah. Okay, so there was that one. She's Always in My Hair. Come on, man. We could sit here and name 400.
You said Controversy. You got three that you already named.
Okay. Was that all you wanted was three? Because we could name 400 songs.
Well, I know. That's why I said three. But
okay.
DMSR is probably that was my pick for Prince's baddest funk track is DMSR. Yeah. So I'm glad you picked that one. So how does it feel to be able to keep this legacy alive by bringing that music to people still?
Hey, man, that's one of the greatest things in the world. I mean, since he was loved and adored by so many, to stand up on stage with NPG and keep his music alive, with Kirky J and Tommy and Sonny and Michael and Mr. Hayes and the horn players, the horn heads, and all the rest of them. There's a couple of horn sections, and Liv and Shelby and Cassie, and it's amazing. Alicia, it's amazing to be able to keep his music alive. With the original people, a lot of people that were there when he created it. That's just Levi, and Levi also is an amazingly funky guitar player. I learned a lot from that guy, him and Sonny T. Sonny T, supposedly taught Prince to play. And Prince would tell you, Prince said that from his own mouth, that Sonny T was the greatest guitar player he ever knew. So Sonny's a funky dude too, and on guitar, Sonny T is a funky dude. But yeah, it's amazing to be able to stand on a stage and be a part of such a great legacy of music created by one of the greatest musicians to ever walk the earth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're so thankful that you're helping keep it alive, Mike, so important for, new generations coming up, can never forget. And it enriches the lives of so many people.
Yes.
So, how can people kind of keep, finger on the pulse of what you might have going if you're going to make an appearance, if you're going to play, if maybe, I don't know if you're ever going to record new music, but that would be cool too.
Who you mean, NPG or me or who?
Well, MPG or anything that's funky,
Well, NPG was I did a recording with them or for them last year. I know they Morris, Mr. Hayes told me they were working on some new material with Mackenzie being the front guy. I'm not sure where that is right now, with the estate taking over everything and all. I don't know. I try to stay out of the politics of all of that. But, if there's new music to be made, they'll be making it. But, Prince was the kind of, he was at the helm of all of this. He was the orchestrator, he was the innovator, he was the creator. So we're doing what we can, man. We're doing what we can to keep the music alive. And whatever we can do is what we will do.
And I'm sure you have plenty of parts that are in the vault, that might come out at some point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. And I have what is it, Guitarist Mike Scott, what is mine? Yeah, Guitarist Mike Scott, Facebook, is my handle. And if anyone wants to keep up with anything I'm doing, you can find it there. But NPG is still currently doing dates. They're doing dates here and there. And like I said, if Levi's not playing, I'm playing. And if I'm not playing, Homer Odell with Mid Condition is playing. So it's going to always be funky.
I'd love to see MPG able to, do a more widespread U.S. group of shows,
Well, guess what? As quiet as it's kept, I probably shouldn't say anything. The Vince Mendoza thing we did with the WDR Orchestra and the Prince tribute, they are in negotiations of touring that next year in the USA. And there will be, of course, Ricky Peterson, Paul Peterson, Liv, Cassandra O'Neill, Kirky J, and myself. So it'll be an NPG core playing all Prince music.
Man, I hope that happens.
Yeah, I hope so too. It sounds like it is going to happen. Like I said, I just left Germany last Sunday, and they mentioned that that's the next project that I'll probably see them on, would be touring the Prince tribute with the WDR Orchestra live.
Oh man, bring it on!
Yeah, it'll be badass.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, Mike. Thank you so much for spending the time with me and for sharing these stories with all the fans and for all the great music through the years too.
Yeah, man. Thank you for inviting me, Scott. I appreciate it. Sorry we had so many hurdles to jump to get here, but we got it done.
Yeah, I mean, viewers don't know, but COVID for me was one of the things that kind of, derailed us for a moment. But yeah, you can't, the funk will come through no matter what you do. So at some point it's going to happen. And I appreciate you with the sniffles and all that and all you got going on there, man. I'm envious of you able to juggle all these things like you do, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, my wife, she cracks the whip, keeps me moving. I always tell my friends she works me harder than a Hebrew slave. So she keeps me going, her and my little 8-year-old daughter. So, hey, man, thank you for taking the time and being patient with me, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Mike. And I'll let you know when this is going to post. And until then, man, I hope you feel better soon and good luck on that trip you got coming up.
All right, thank you. And I'll keep you posted on that. If that thing comes alive, I'll make sure that you have the link to spread to all your viewers and all.
Take care,
all right,
man.
Thanks a lot, man. Let me know if you need anything else.
Okay.
All right, for sure. Later.
Peace.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkinstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkandstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkandstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.